VPN at technophilespodcast.com. I'm David Geisler, and this is the Technophiles Podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to tonight's show. I am here with the regular cast. Gill, Krista-Lee Malone, and Vee Laabs are returning here with me for part 2 of episode 285. And, Vee, how are you?
I'm good.
Krista-Lee, how are you?
Excellent.
And Jake, how are you?
Fantastic.
Well, I think we're all in a pretty good position here then, and let's get started.
We're all positive adjectives right now.
Positive adjectives, which is really what you want to be when you podcast.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Dave, how you doing? Oh, I'm the worst right now.
Let
Let me tell you, the drive over here.
Should I perhaps clarify, because I mentioned in the last podcast that Your Own Personal Jesus was by Marilyn Manson. He did do it, however, it was a cover of Depeche Mode.
That's thematically appropriate for what we talked about in part 1.
Thankfully, Your Own Personal Jesus wasn't trademarked.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Thank God Jesus is not trademarked.
No, it's okay.
But
like,
I think I know, like, our next video is going to be TPN reacts to Marilyn Manson's cover of...
Yeah. And the article title, Your Own Personal Google. We react to that.
Your own personal Google. We'll be talking about that topic in part 3. Vee brought that story for us. I'm very excited to talk about it.
Nope.
In the meantime,
Actually, I did. I'm Krista.
Oh, Krista-Lee. I'm sorry. No. You know, this is a thing that happens.
It's okay. We know.
Thing that happens.
All the girls look alike.
Oh, that is not what I'm saying. No, the girls' names look alike. Veelee. That's what it is for me.
Just wait until I get bangs.
She told me
I'm
today while we were
out. I'm growing my bangs out.
All right. No, she said to me today when we were in the studio, she said, "Hey, what if I grow bangs?" I said, "Cool. You're going to have the same hairstyle as Vee."
Don't worry, we're gonna just switch. I was actually planning on growing my bangs out.
Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Jake, tonight we are talking about...
We're talking about Google Fiber bringing some very, very, very fast internet to poor people who probably can't access it any other way. So Google Fiber, they were talking about rolling out a plan in Kansas City, Missouri. This is from the Washington Post. And I think it was Wednesday. It would have been rolling out like the first one. So they're trying to connect up roughly 1,300 households with some super blazing fast internet.
We talked about Google Fiber on this show a couple years ago, kind of when they were rolling out the idea. I think they were still picking the town. Didn't they end up picking a place in Kansas for that? I forgot where they ended up testing it out. For the past couple of years, it's been in like one city.
Austin?
Texas, that was in Austin.
Yeah, okay, that's probably it then.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's going on in Austin, but so Google Fiber, let me just back up a little bit. So actually this is part of something Connect Home, which was last year, I believe, like the article that I was reading was referencing last year, part of Obama's thing and saying we need to bring accessibility of this kinds of technology to people who can't access it. And a great way to do that is to go into these kinds of like assisted living kind of locations where we know people are going to be, at home. They're accessing, maybe the internet on their phone, but they don't physically have internet access. So Connect Home is trying to link up 275,000 plus people around America that need internet access, and they're looking at kind of internet distributors and various kind of partnerships that want to get involved in basically providing these services for free. Yep. So now we fast forward, roughly 6 months, and maybe a year after all these talks, and Google Fiber is saying, hey, we're about ready to drop our first thing, Kansas City, Missouri, to 1,300 households. And so that'll be coming out. I think it's just really interesting. I mean, so when I'm looking online a lot, you hear about a lot of different things, and like I feel so privileged. I've got my smartphone and like my devices and everything, but like, What if you didn't have that at home? What if your coming home was like cutting yourself off from technology rather than kind of being able to get more access to it?
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? So this is like a really good opportunity for basically these companies to kind of do good on providing connectivity to people who can't.
Well, so the Google Fiber idea, that was, a couple years ago, was just this new technology that was bonkers fast internet, and Google was really excited about it.
Yep.
This Connect situation, is this just a merging of the two?
So this is, let me just...
I guess I'm kind of asking, like, did Google say, hey, wait, we can help?
So yeah, they were a part. They had kind of vowed to be a part of this service.
Got it.
They're like, yeah, we'll lend a hand. So I think like as this additional rollout is starting, they're basically saying we are going to give our service of Google Fiber, which they're giving up like a couple $1 million a year in kind of these like service fees, and they're just saying we're going to open it up here, we're going to roll it out in this city to these homes in need, and kind of see how it goes. They think that these housing areas, these kind of pilot projects and things would be really good for just large accessibility to a large community of people. And so I mean that to me kind of thought back to like, you think of the importance of like things like libraries these days as like this hub where people who don't have this kind of access can go in, they can apply for jobs, they can order things, they can do all this kind of stuff. They can pay their bills, exactly, because everything is online now.
Yeah,
it's true.
So this is just one extra additional layer for people to be able to kind of do that and do that well and have the technology. Although the entire time I was kind of thinking like, oh man, so many people are going to be like Netflixing now. And
I mean, and so be it.
Hey.
Yeah, absolutely. So and so that's kind of the other element of this article where it's like, yes, this looks great. This is good public exposure for fiber for all these different kinds of companies. Mm-hmm. But like, honestly, this is also a ticket into another revenue stream for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're on Google Fiber, you have free internet now. I mean, are you're inclined to probably purchase some of these services that are being offered now. So, good for them, but it's also pretty awesome that some people are going to have access to internet that they didn't have, and why not it? If you're going to lay foundation down, just go for broke and give them the best stuff, right?
Absolutely. So, that's a very generous thing to do on Google's part. So
this is like the first city, and I think there's going to be a lot more coming soon. So
does it seem like Google intends to have fiber wherever it rolls it out? I mean, right now it sounds like they're basically planning on having it always be a free service. Like they're doing this for free.
They're definitely doing this for free. This is their decision to give it away. And this is part of that connect home thing. But I would assume that they're probably, I mean, if you're in the right area, you can probably buy fiber as well, right?
So, well, at least maybe now. But I understand that for the past couple of years,
it's only been free.
It was only free and only where they wanted to test it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so your town just got lucky if you got it, and and we could probably count how many there are on less than one hand.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. I know there's one in California.
Really?
Yeah. I can't remember the other.
Really, it's so funny. I even see Austin here on the in the article, but
but Austin was also kind of targeting at like urban areas in need, right? It wasn't just...
Okay, maybe the first time they tried it was in someplace in Kansas, but it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is going to be in Kansas, right?
So
this one, or Kansas City. So they're providing that.
And we haven't actually said yet. Do you know the stats on how fast Google Fiber actually is?
1,000 megabits per second.
Yep, that is correct.
Mm-hmm.
To put that into perspective here, and I'm quoting inside of the article, but that's like HD movie and 7. What's the download time?
Wasn't it like 7 minutes?
I don't even think it's 7 minutes.
I want to say it might be 7 seconds.
Stupid fact.
Probably 7 seconds. Well, I mean, okay, so most people...
Download the equivalent of HD movie in about 7 seconds.
7 seconds. So, I mean, most people casually live with, like, I'd say 20 megabytes, like a standard package
20,
for most
25
services.
is like, that's fast, right?
That's like the standard, and people are happy to get it.
Basic,
Like, if you have a bad internet connection, you're down to 5. And
so this is...
bonkers.
Yes.
Crazy.
If you told someone 200 megabytes a second, they'd lose their mind. 1,000 times.
But I mean, right. So, I mean, that to me is like interesting. It's cool that it's like, oh, you guys get the best. But really, it's more about, this is really cool that they're figuring out like, where do we provide accessibility that kind of reaches the most people?
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, why not wire up apartment complexes or something
true.
that? It's low income housing is where they're targeting right now. And that's kind of where they're starting because it's a really great place to kind of broadcast it out, and know that people are going to be coming home to get it.
Yeah, it bridges that
true.
digital divide, that you know, like accessibility to technology, accessibility to the internet are big gaps to like entering the job market nowadays. Like not having a computer can like just make you crippled when it comes to communicating with future employers and things like that.
It's true, and we should point out that 7-second download stat was written by Brian Fung of the Washington Post. He pointed that out. So I am going to be a little ignorant here for a second, or maybe naive. I'm not sure. Will Google, for example, will this service, is the technology, I honestly don't know this part, is this just a technology to deliver internet, and then companies like AT&T and Time Warner will still provide the internet? Or is Google going to now become the provider? Does anybody know? Do you see where I'm going with this?
I think they are the provider.
I think they are the
So
provider.
I thought they were too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
things.
that's kind of why it's been a little bit interesting for them to try and even get into these markets, because they get, they're clashing with Titans here.
Right. With
Yeah.
Titans. That's where I'm going with this.
Charter.
So like this could be like, well, we need to figure out what this does on large loads to our network. I'm sure there is some degree here of like Google, like, hey, this is a good idea for us to start like testing this out, right? In another place and expanding this kind of this service. But I'm pretty sure it's them providing.
So you can go
It looks
So
like it.
I'm on their page right now, and so for example, I checked their
Who's they? What, Google's page?
Google Fiber.
Yep.
And so they have plans. They're clearly the provider here, so you can get like gigabit plus TV for $130 a month, gigabit internet $70 a month, basic internet $0.
And now, are there prices attached to those things? Right there, I'm serious.
Yes, 100.
Yeah, 130.
130, 70, and 0, depending
So maybe
on what
you
you're
can
getting.
buy fiber now.
But it's
But
not.
you got to be in the right area.
In the right
Right.
area.
So I also checked. It's not available in this area.
Right.
So I did just check that as well.
Okay, that might be it, Jake. Maybe a year or two ago when they were testing it out, it was free at that one place. They just for them they just needed a live test area. Now, if you're in an area and you'd like to purchase it, okay, well that doesn't change things as much because those price tags are a little heftier than like a standard Time Warner cost.
Well,
But it's
not
also
if you can.
ridiculous.
Yeah, but if you look at Time Warner, it goes up with the speed. So this is
Yeah, that's true.
This,
Oh my gosh, you're right. If you're actually going by speed,
Right.
if the percentage of what you're paying for the speed, this is
So-
like pennies.
Actually, because I know a couple of people on the Time Warner plan who pay $70 a month for their internet, and their internet is not at one.
A couple years ago,
Gigabyte.
I had Time Warner. I was paying $80 a month just to try to get 30 megabytes. It's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not speaking about Time Warner specifically, but that situation was terrible.
Right. No. Well, and out where I live, the fastest I can get right now, because I actually recently just tried to upgrade so that I could stream from my house. The fastest I can get is 18 down and 1 up.
That's tragic.
Because I live apparently just a little too far out of the city.
Jeez.
And so that's it. Like the tech came to the house and everything. He's like, no, this is literally the fastest we can do because your neighborhood is not wired for.
Sure. A lot of this is matter of time kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Google Fiber, super cool that they're doing this, obviously.
Well,
Let's make more locations.
Yep. They definitely need. I mean, it would be interesting to see. This is a part of a bigger thing. I think it's cool that it's like Google. 6 months ish, a year later, they're delivering on a promise and working together with other people to try and bring accessibility.
Yeah.
And that's super cool.
Oh,
So hopefully this would be. I would love to see like. Let's not close libraries, right? It's not like, oh, Google's got this. But, it's a step in the right direction.
It'll make libraries a lot more easy.
Although this is not like the most radical way of distributing internet that I was kind of reading about these days. But I was seeing something about like Google, one of their like pet projects is...
The balloon thing?
The drones.
So we talked about that on the show. We talked about the drones on Technophiles.
Yeah.
They created a plan. Their experiment. Google X was doing it.
Yeah.
So who knows where it is now? If it's like
I think
Alphabet.
Facebook was doing something too,
They were doing
right?
it like out in
Yeah.
Africa.
So they were
in the
experimenting with some weather balloons that they had a little bit of control for
Yeah.
GPS and maybe in Africa.
Yeah,
But in
like
general, they were
triangulating them.
testing this concept where drones would fly and hover. You make a grid of drones.
Yep.
Obviously, these things run out of battery at a certain amount of time, but they would, very similar to kind of those now somewhat infamous robots in Amazon factories, warehouses that automatically, there's no rhyme or reason to it, but the computer there is.
Right.
These drones would kind of they would regulate. What I'm trying to say is like, okay, 1 out of 100 gets low on battery. Well, it knows to go land and charge, and others take its place and things. And it's not necessarily that fourth drone doesn't have to drop out and go right back to 4.
There goes the network.
You know what I mean? They
Sure.
readjust their IPs and stuff, and these drones stay up in the air. That we definitely talked about
yeah,
that.
we totally did.
So I was reading about that today too, and I was
Yeah.
like, well, that's another pretty cool way to get internet. Because
Yeah.
I think it was like 5G LTE coverage from really anywhere. Like, just throw some drones up. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, then they were doing the weather balloons in Africa for sure. They're experimenting with that, but that was definitely a Google X thing,
Yeah, that was one of their.
which is a little different. But
So the
Little
Facebook thing. Now this is a little while ago, so they might have changed since then. But the last I read, they were trying to roll out in India, and they were getting a lot of flack because they weren't just giving internet access, they were giving access to certain parts of the internet.
What?
So there was censorship going on what was actually being made available.
Facebook being sketchy.
Oh, that's the fake. That was
Well,
the
but they
Facebook
could
project?
be like, I don't know.
Well,
Is it Facebook being sketchy or like governments?
Right.
Oh,
Making
dictating
demands.
what.
It's always a
Facebook-
relationship.
It's like the Great Wall.
And it's always
China, you
it's
know.
always hard too, because it's like they're trying to give
Free
something for
firewall, rather.
free and then
Right.
turning around and being like, well, it's all or nothing, and it's like, we're trying to give you something for free. But I'm just saying there was flack and that was a thing.
Sure.
I don't know where it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll keep our eye on it. Any closing comments there, Jake, to take us out? I mean, you said plenty. I'm just saying.
No. I
Do you
don't
think, is there any, well, how does this affect the rest of the, what do you think this is going forward? What do you think the trajectory might be here? Is it now, okay, we
Well, so
helped
if
this
they're
area,
looking
now
at
we'll
just-
help that area, now we'll help that area, now we'll help that area.
It could be that. First, you identify where do we need to give access. Then you work. You know, if this is part of Connect Home, then I have to think that this is part of like, let's roll it out. Let's see what this is doing. You know, let's make good on this promise of providing some access right away. Let's see how it goes, and then let's find other cities that we can bring it to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And for I think for a while there's
Yep.
plenty of saturation left to be had.
Yep. Kind of see how things play out. You know, it's what it's like 1,300 people, 1,300 households.
Okay.
But they're trying to reach, you know, almost 300,000 people nationwide eventually with this kind of proposal. So
Yeah.
obviously this is very, very beginning, tip of the iceberg.
It'll be fun to
Yeah.
keep an eye on.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
great. Awesome. Well,
And if we
Jake,
ever need any really fast internet, we can go to Kansas City.
go to Kansas City real quick. Drive down to Kansas City.
Yep.
I have heard things about like Google Fiber where it's so fast that you can basically quote unquote walk in Street View in real time, just because obviously the images load so fast.
Oh my
you know.
gosh.
Yeah, I think I have a friend in the Bay Area that's like on. I feel like there's places in Soma that have fiber access, and I'm pretty sure that he's just like rented an Amazon server box and it's just like, yeah, I'm just doing whatever I want, playing video games and stuff, like just straight streaming everything from everything. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Super
Absolutely.
quick. Yep.
Jake, if people would like to discuss this with you, they can find you on Twitter.
Yep. They can find me on Twitter at Critical Owl, and we can chat on there.
Marvelous. Krista-Lee, if people have any thoughts about this or what happened in India, they could find you on Twitter at
Gamer Anthro.
fantastic and Vee Laabs.
They can find me at bear_Annika.
Great. We love it when people tweet the show at Technophiles Pod or find us on iTunes, Facebook, Stitcher, and YouTube by searching Technophiles Podcast or go to our actual website, technophilespodcast.com. We'll be back with part 3 here talking about, oh my gosh, I just lost my notes. Krista-Lee.
Your own personal Google. Thank you, Vee.
Thank you for
Wow.
serenading us there, ladies. We appreciate it. We'll be back in part 3 talking about Google stuff. More Google. In the meantime, you can find me on Twitter. I'm David Geisler, and you can tweet me at Raptor Paint. See you in just a bit, guys.